Welcome back to Sunday Vibes, ladies and gentlemen. Today I'm joined by Michael McCubbin,
Hello.
Patrick Van Straten, and myself. And this one is brought to you guys by Now TV. Stream on the go with the Now TV Sky Sports mobile month pass for just £5.99, including the Fulham versus Liverpool game, which is bound to be a slaughtering. We move on to our first question, the headline question. It comes from arguably FD Fan of the Year, Menez. What do Real Madrid need to do to rebuild now Zidane is back? Pato, over to you for the first bit.
Well, we talked about this a little bit on the Sunday Vibes Extra Time podcast. So if you want a bit more discussion of that and some other managers, make sure that you download that and of course subscribe to the podcast. But obviously the situation is this. Zidane, after 10 months away, has come back to Real Madrid. He signed a contract till 2022. So this puts an end to the rumours of Pochettino and Klopp, who they were supposedly interested in. What this says to me is Florentino Perez has lost a big battle here. Zidane, I don't know what Perez would have had to promise him, but I imagine it's money and pretty much full control of transfers. And whilst I'm not necessarily sure that he's like the dream candidate for the job, he's certainly better at doing that than Perez is. So I don't know. We're hearing rumours about 350 million euros as a summer budget, and when you look at the rudiments they've got in the squad, you kind of think that should be enough to get them back to contend for the Champions League places. But then you hear, oh, well, they're going to pay 150 mil for Neymar, or they're going to put down 300 for Neymar, and I actually don't think that that would be enough to get it done.
I mean, if you're putting 300 down on any player, put it on Kylian Mbappe.
Yes.
Put it on Kylian Mbappe, and I still don't think PSG will give you the 300 million. They'd have no reason to sell. They have no reason to sell. They've got him a long-term contract, and he's 19, still in his teenage years, still very young, full stop, and absolutely killing it. There's no reason whatsoever. PSG are arguably the richest club in the entire world. Why would they need £300 million for a player that they just want to keep anyway, especially a player who's going to be the best player in the world? I think the one place that they need to rebuild in especially is in attack, and more so the striker. Don't think they get Harry Kane. Harry Kane, I just don't think will happen. I don't think he wants to move to Real Madrid. I don't think he really wants to leave England, to be honest. I personally, and I feel like we say it all the time, but it's because of the situation now, Mauro Icardi. Not going to cost you as much as everyone else, £100 million buyout clause or euro buyout clause. He is at the moment probably more gettable than ever, lost the captaincy, is faking injuries. He came out recently to say he has an injury. Inter Milan did a scan came back, Inter Milan put a thing out saying, yeah, nothing's wrong with him at all. And then his wife, who's also his agent, Anna Icardi, came out to say, no, I'm injured, I can't play. And so hasn't featured in the squad. Look, we know what Icardi does. I don't think he's amazing at build-up play. I remember he's got a hat-trick in 13 touches. I think he's better than people think.
Like, we always hear this stuff, where, he only plays like 15 passes a game or whatever. Like, that's pretty normal for a striker. Strikers tend to play between 10 and 20 passes a game. Gareth Bale does a similar amount.
But in a striker in Zidane's kind of formation and system, is that what he wants, or does he
want
probably a bit more?
I think if you looked at Cristiano Ronaldo's passing numbers in his last season under Zidane, I'd be stunned if he was hugely involved in play. That's just not his job. His job is like off the ball to find space and get on the end of chances. And Icardi's amazing at that. Like, the one thing Icardi does is just score goals relentlessly. Every season, at Inter, he has never had a down season. In terms of getting chances, he's always been between 0.6 and 0.8 expected goals and assists per 90 minutes. And that's in a side which has fluctuated and where the chief kind of creative ability has come from an ageing Perisic or from Kandreva just whipping in crosses from the right. That's it. Imagine if suddenly you've got Marcelo, you've got Kroos, you've got Modric, you've probably got another midfielder coming in, you'd have to assume. You've got potentially another winger in the form of someone like Eden Hazard. Basically, if you go for Icardi, it gives you the opportunity to get a really good winger and have him as a really good striker. Whereas if you could get Kane, and do I think Kane is better than Icardi? Probably overall. Those numbers are worse than Icardi's this season, taking a big step back. I kind of think if you get Kane, then you can't really strengthen in the wide areas. You might not be able to strengthen in midfield in quite the way you want to. I just think it's a bit too much money in one place.
I do think Icardi as well is... Real Madrid is perfect as well for him because there, he will listen to Zidane. Zidane will say to him, stop the bullshit now. Stop acting out, this is it. You're at Real Madrid, you're the star striker, you're my guy. stop being a baby all the time. But Mikey, what do you think of the Icardi situation and any other positions you think they need?
Yeah, I mean, obviously Icardi's the obvious choice, isn't he, going up front. Very much proven, as we were just illustrating. I think we were speaking a bit last night, obviously this is filmed on a Thursday, about Luka Jovic on the live stream, weren't we, and how potentially in the next 2 or 3 years he'll be one of kind of Europe's elite strikers. But
it's a big risk.
Right now, it is a risk, isn't it? Even if you were to cost about half the price that Icardi would, Real Madrid, if they need a quick fix anywhere, it is in that position, isn't it? I think other positions they can afford to bed players in over an amount of time. Obviously Militao, the Militao deal looks to have been gone through. In fact, I think it's official now. So they're clearly looking at centre-back as an area where they're going to slowly phase Sergio Ramos out. Obviously that's a big task, but already signed Odriozola for at right-back, and to be honest, I think they should just be playing him, given Carvajal's kind of inconsistencies this season. But a good shout actually I got on Instagram from Nahid. He gave me a long old message with his comprehensive plan for how to rebuild Madrid. I'm not going to go too much into detail with it, but I thought a couple of decent shouts in terms of the midfield would be to raid Lyon for Nabil Fekir and Aouar. And it's believed they could probably get those two midfielders together for less than 150 mil. And in terms of long term, obviously Modric and Kroos are, still on their day, two of the best midfielders in the world. I think in the long term that would be quite a good deal, rather than going for someone like Christian Eriksen from Spurs, who will be expensive. And also will be ageing in the next few years.
Eriksen also has only got a year in his contract, so the ball's in your court, to be honest. I think Fekir's big move is done. I think it's gone. I think the injury risk, he would have gone to Liverpool if it wasn't for the injury risk. And if Liverpool aren't taking him, maybe Chelsea, but that can't happen in the summer because of the whole transfer ban.
No one's going to offer what Liverpool offered, are they, after this knee issue? And then Lyon can say, well, you're not actually offering, he's worth more than that to us, so why would we sell him? We're happy to continue to take the risk with his knee injury. It doesn't matter that much if he sits out half a season for them. Whereas if he's like a star winger for Real Madrid and he sits out half a season, they're in trouble.
Aurier, though, I think he's a good shout. He's someone that, also is Algerian, because I've had a look at him, but he's someone that I definitely could for the future of Real Madrid, and it has been happening recently. Vinicius Junior, he's been getting a lot of minutes. Obviously, I don't think he's going to be the starter, because I think it's very harsh to put such a young guy into that position at Real Madrid.
That's how you burn out teenagers.
Exactly. Same with Rodrigo, who's going to be joining next year. He's not going to be starting straight away. It'll take time. But again, for someone like him, I think he needs the minutes. I think the whole reason he's been so good is because he's been able to play consistently each and every week with Lyon and have Champions League exposure. Is he going to be playing in the Champions League for Real Madrid? Probably not. That's when they'll play Kroos and Modric.
But I mean, Modric is 33 now. He's not going to be the keeper. He's not going to be there in 2 years' time. He's not going to be their starting midfielder for them in 2 years' time. Let's face it.
They do have Kovacic though, and they have Ceballos as well. And I'm not saying Ceballos is necessarily ready to start all these games for them, but they pretty much have to decide at some point: are you ever going to be a Real Madrid player, or should we sell you? And they can sell with a buyback. They've done that before. That wouldn't be the worst idea in the world. But Kovacic should obviously start to be a regular player in that team. I think phase out Kroos, phase out Modric, and just use them when they're fit and for big games. But bring in Kovacic and then look for another midfielder. Lo Celso's been linked; he'd be fantastic.
Didn't Kovacic have spats with Zidane though when he was there over not getting plays?
I think so, but that is understandable because he deserves to play. Or they should sell him.
That's another thing that I think about.
Sell him or play him.
Him to Spurs, Kovacic to Spurs.
It wouldn't be the worst idea. Kovacic deserves to go to a club who are going to play him a lot, and he will be very good for whoever he plays for. He had a really good start to the season at Chelsea. Over time, it kind of felt like he was a square peg in a round hole, a bit like N'Golo Kante. It felt like their roles should probably have been swapped. But he's shown that he can eat up ground this season. He can defend. He can progress the ball. He's not necessarily the guy you want running into the box as a kind of extra attacker. But in terms of getting the ball up the field, for a team like Arsenal or for a team like Spurs or even City, I think in that Fernandinho role, I think he'd actually be a really, really good fit. But Real Madrid have just got to say this pattern of midfield is can't remain the same. Like at the moment, we've got one immobile passer, Toni Kroos, and we've got Modric, who's meant to be mobile, but obviously is now well into his 30s. And then we've got Casemiro mopping up everything behind. They need to add guys who have more defensive output. And Aouar is like 4 tackles and interceptions a game. Plus he's quick. Plus he's a great dribbler. Plus he's got final third ability. Like that's really important. Like they need a couple of these guys.
I tell you, the one situation I think Zidane has to do. Get Gareth Bale out of that club.
Yes.
Accept 50 million euros, 50 million pounds, whatever
Take
it is.
anything.
I think anything less than 50 mil is a bit.
But is he worth keeping?
But I think Real Madrid are too
wages?
arrogant. I think Perez is way too arrogant to say, yeah, I want. Like a club comes in, they have to spend at least 50 million. But he needs to go because one, it's already seen when Zidane was there. Zidane wasn't his biggest fan, and two, Bale's time at Real Madrid is over now.
Yes.
Injuries left, right, and centre.
I just fear for him. I just fear for him finding somewhere that will take him
But also-
at his price with his wages.
I didn't realise how arrogant he was to leave it, to be subbed off, to be at a game and then leave at 80 minutes is mental.
Yeah, it's outrageous.
It's ridiculous to be a right winger. You're playing for Real Madrid, mate. You're the highest paid player at that club.
Well, yeah,
Have a bit of
to come out
respect.
after the Champions League, straight after the Champions League final, and the first thing you say to the media is, "I'm not getting played enough," is pretty outrageous myself as well.
I don't know, is it? I kind of do sympathise.
I can see why he was frustrated, but like, I think in terms of, I don't know, in terms of your position within a club which has, such a kind of prestigious global image is that is pretty crazy considering the kind of power structure that exists at Madrid.
Well, I don't think it's just arrogance though. Like don't get me wrong. I think like if it was just only about like his status, I could see where it's coming from. But everybody seems to suggest, all the reports seem to suggest that he's also basically kind of got no friends at the club and is treated like a bit of an outsider. And in that position, I can understand why he thinks, why should I be loyal to these people? Like they don't like me. I get booed by the fans. I never get praised when I do well. I sit on the bench half the time. I don't know, if I were him, I'd kind of think like, yeah, I mean, his injury problems are his own, but I do feel for him a little bit because it must be draining to be there and be an outsider for like, what's it been now? 5 years coming up for him. No, more than that. He went in 2013.
That's in 6 years nearly.
Maybe go to Juve.
His career.
Would Juve take him? They've already got an issue rotating with Dybala.
I mean, Juve, Dybala, Real Madrid swap, they
Well,
also get
that'd be-
money. You never
Yeah,
know.
it's weird how no one talks about Dybala as a potential signing for Real Madrid. He's kind of ideal, right? Because he could play with. If you were to get someone like Jovic and say we'll also get Dybala, I think that would be perfectly sensible because you'd be like, we can play him as a centre forward if we really needed to. We can play him off the wing. We can play him as a 10. He can pretty much do anything. So. Yeah, I think generally like what you really want as a team is to get players who don't cause problems.
Yeah, I think
like
that's
we
part
see
of that
how much
guy.
of an issue that is when you have a player who's like amazing, like Ozil for instance, where you're like, wow, you're amazing in this one very specific position, and if we want to do anything else, you become a problem for us. Real Madrid would be better served over the next few years as they figure out what they're going to be post Ronaldo to get some players who are comfortable in multiple positions just so they can switch a little bit.
I think, well, another thing as well that adds when Zidane coming back, Isco finally going to get played again. Yeah. I mean, that whole relationship was mental.
Well, maybe, we hope so.
You hope so, but like from what I heard originally, it was on the first day Solari was there, Solari told him to count how many touches he was taking, and Isco said no, and then that was it. And they also heard reports that Isco was telling his girlfriend things about the training sessions they were doing, and then his girlfriend was leaking them to the public, and that was another reason that things didn't go so well for him. I mean, I also would like to kind of see Isco move though. I'd like to see him come to the Premier League, and I'd like to see him join Man City.
That would be pretty unreal.
They need him?
No.
They don't, but did they need Riyad Mahrez?
They didn't know, but then has Riyad Mahrez, it hasn't been that great for Riyad Mahrez
True.
this season, has it? You don't want to see Isco then just being on the Man City bench, do you? You want to see him actually enter a side. Imagine if I don't know, the Premier League midfields are all pretty well stocked now, but I would have suggested Liverpool otherwise. But no, and also Asensio as well. Asensio was considering what year and a half ago Asensio was being kind of
he was
talked
banging the
about.
CL.
Sorry,
He was banging the Champions League.
yeah, he was pretty much the most in form under 23 attacker in world football. and his performances and game time dropped off massively in the last year. So it'll be interesting to see if Zidane kind of reintroduces him into a more pivotal role in that scene as well.
I was going to say the only other position I can maybe think of that Zidane might have an issue with is left back. Marcelo isn't doing what he was doing when Zidane was last there, playing essentially as a 10 and creating the opportunities he was and the goal scoring opportunities he was. And he's getting on, etc. Also, Hakimi's out on loan, and he's on loan for 2 more years. Do you think it's okay they can still have Marcelo for another season and then bring Hakimi in?
So, I don't think they need to worry too much about Marcelo. Yeah, I think another year or maybe 2 years with Marcelo will be fine. Again, it's just like that defence in general, though. Just have to kind of phase him out slowly. And I think we'll see him hit top form again under Zidane. Like, they had a great relationship, didn't they? He doesn't just kind of lose his quality overnight. So I think actually that defensively Real Madrid have a pretty bright future if with the Militao deal going through with Odriozola, if they do go in for another top class young centre back, although Varane will come back into form as well. So I think they're actually fine at the back and left back as well. Yeah, they've got other options, obviously Reguilon, Theo Hernandez, obviously Hakimi out on loan, and let's not forget Vallejo as well at centre back as well. So I think they're actually pretty well stocked, and I think that area of their team they probably don't need to worry about as much. It's more just a coaching issue, to be honest.
Well, the one I just remembered as well was not defensively, attacking wise, Eden Hazard. I mean,
Do we just assume that's getting done?
I really feel that's just done. I do. I think
that's
especially with Zidane coming back, whether it I don't know whether it happens this year though or next year, because this year, especially with the
it can't happen next year.
This is it, because the second
it's already basically 2 years late.
Yeah, 100%. But Real Madrid are in a position now where I reckon they even offer 90 million, like not even 100, and Chelsea go, we have to cash in now.
Why?
Because we don't have them for it yet.
Yeah, but if it's only going to be, but the lower that amount gets, the more likely Chelsea are to be like, if we let him go and we can't do transfer business, we could seriously fall off the pace. And I don't mean fall off the pace like being sixth, fall off the pace as in could face 5 years outside the Champions League, because there's no prospect of big investment coming back in.
Yep.
There's no particular. I'm not sure how Sarri, who basically we've said all along he needs the right players to play his way. I'm not sure how he's going to manage to do that, like without transfers as well. And the atmosphere around the club is already toxic in the middle of his first season. So I really don't know what they do if they let Hazard go, and they might say, you know what, losing 90 million quid over the next year is genuinely worth it to stay in touching distance of the top four.
This is what I think. However, I also kind of feel, I kind of feel having an Eden Hazard who doesn't want to be at the club is maybe a worse thing, because there was that season
where he was down tools.
Yeah, he was just down tools.
He was
wasn't
just like
happy.
league average.
Yeah. And luckily that's when Willian came and actually had his probably best ever season. I also think as well, like just with Zidane there, like when it was Solari there, I was like, okay, it's not. I don't think it's gonna happen. But he loves Zidane, and Zidane's literally come out on press conference and said, yeah, he's gonna be here next season. Like, get ready. So, what do you guys though at home think of the Real Madrid rebuild? Who else do they have to bring in, and have we missed out any other players? Let us know in the comments below. We move on to quickfire questions now, and this first one comes from @Wisniewski98, and they have said Champions League predictions. I'll add a bit to that. I want your dream pairing, who you think is going to win the competition, and who you want to win the competition.
What, so like dream final?
Dream final.
Dream final, who we think's going to win, who we want to win. Were you about to say another thing?
No.
Okay. McCubbin, please kick us off.
Dream final, interesting one. It would be amazing to just see Ajax and Man City take on each other at some point in this kind of quarterfinals, semis, or final. Just because of the kind of Pep and Johan Cruyff connection and the way those two teams are playing at the moment, and in particular Ajax. I think, like, apart from Man United, who I obviously want to win the competition,
I forgot they were.
got to be Ajax to win it. That would just be an amazing story, wouldn't it? Especially with Frenkie de Jong leaving in the summer, and the likelihood of De Ligt doing the same. Probably as good a chance as this Ajax team are going to have at it. And pretty amazing kind of progression from where they were 2 years ago when they got to the Europa League final, and were kind of didn't look a match for Jose Mourinho's Man United. Suddenly they're absolute world beaters at the moment. So that would be pretty amazing. Who I actually think is going to win? I actually think Man City might win the competition this year. Like I think they just based on their strength, they're coming to form at a really good time now. Kind of looking just as good as they did right at the start of the season when people thought they were going to win the league at an absolute canter. And I think they can challenge for both the Premier League and Champions League with relative ease, as long as they don't get any more kind of key injuries. So yeah, I think has that answered all the criteria there?
Yeah.
I think it pretty much
It
has.
did. It did. So, Pato, your ones. He's already said Ajax. He's already said City.
I mean, that probably is my dream final though, because I wouldn't mind either club winning it. Out of those two, that would be a really, really good final. Like if Ajax won it, that would genuinely be amazing. I think everyone could kind of get behind that. I think everyone would enjoy that, and also if City won it, like I think that would be a little bit fitting. Like last season, they got comfortably beaten by Liverpool. Liverpool deserved to advance, but up until then, I thought City had been the best team in the Champions League. God, I don't know. I think Barca and Juve, I'd quite like them to meet in the next round or before the final, because they're strong, but they've got flaws. I don't really want Juve. Before this year, I would have wanted Juve to win it. I really wanted Buffon to win it before he left. I kind of felt that Allegri deserved it for the work he'd done rebuilding that side. But I don't want Cristiano Ronaldo to win it again. And also, I don't. Yeah, you kind of said this on the live stream. Like, it is a bit obnoxious, this idea of just like he just goes to a club and they can just win the Champions League. Like, it's just a bit tedious.
It'd be great to see. I can't remember the last time we had a Messi v Ronaldo matchup in the Champions League as well. Like, it's a long time since Real Madrid and Barcelona played each other.
That is
So that would be quite.
I mean, a Manc derby would also be a pretty fun final.
Yeah, that would be a mad
or a Manchester-Liverpool final.
Yeah, but I would hate either side to win that. Like, that'd be awful. The only way that'd be good is if it got called off. It'd be dreadful.
I just want, if United, just imagine how iconic it would be though for United to win the Champions League, the last minute, and Ole Gunnar Solskjaer to knee slide onto the pitch.
That would be pretty good.
If Bayern Munich was still in the competition, that would be my dream final. That'd be unreal. But obviously, Liverpool put an end to that. But Zach, what are you saying?
I mean, I kind of agree. Like Ajax to win it would be absolutely unbelievable because it's kind of just like their history to do so. They build these mad talents. They win the Champions League, and those talents jump off to another club, and then they go down again. They build it again over and over again. But I don't think that's actually going to happen. I think my dream final, Barcelona and City. Just to see Pep take on the original, his original team, go from there, and also,
that would be pretty good.
And then Messi to score the winner as well, and just like Pep just. Sad. But also, Pep winning it as well, it would be very nice.
But Barcelona are just like, if Barcelona win it, I just feel like it's like
year.
Real Madrid last year. I'd just be like, this side doesn't really deserve to win this trophy, man. Like some years, the problem is the Champions League has to be given out every year.
Yeah.
I feel like some years we should get to the quarters and be like, no Champions League this year. Like none of you deserve it. And Barca, people act like they're still this great Barca side, but I don't know, that game they won 3-0 against Real Madrid, it sounds ridiculous because it was a 3-0. Barcelona finished their chances, but they got dominated. In midfield, the shot count, everything. But when they got chances, they finished them. And that's what happens because you've got Suarez, you've got Messi.
Exactly.
And I completely understand that. And you've always got a chance when you've got them. And those guys deserve every trophy they can get. They're incredible. However, if you're getting overrun in midfield by Santiago Solari's Real Madrid, I feel like you shouldn't be winning the Champions League. And I feel like City or Liverpool, or even, if the circumstances were right, Spurs, and certainly Juve, I feel like all those sides could do it.
Apart from Porto, I think any side could actually win that Champions League.
I think Ajax and United and Spurs are certainly the next lowest rank after.
Yeah, but I still think they could beat it. I still think they could go into two games and beat them.
I don't know, 2 games?
Yeah.
The final, sure. If United or Spurs or whoever got to the final, do I think that they could just do them, with someone like Paul Pogba just having a worldy game or Pochettino getting it absolutely right? Yes. Do I think that they could beat Juve or Barcelona over 2 legs? Do you think Spurs can beat Liverpool over 2 legs?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, 100% they can. If they've got
They
their
can,
start, if they've
but
got
I
their
don't
players.
think they would. Like, I
But
don't know.
this is it.
man.
Like the Champions League is this great competition where dreams are made of, aren't they? So this is where Spurs do win it, and Pochettino can finally say, "We are now a top
He's
class."
still, at the same time, Pochettino, not a great tournament manager, is he? Like, whereas
True.
you look at like Klopp, it's fantastic. Allegri's been pretty good over the years. I don't know. Yeah, Guardiola hasn't won it since what 2011. He hasn't won the Champions League, so that would be.
He hasn't
big.
been to
That
a
would be
final since then.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess he hasn't.
Since that one he won with Barcelona, he hasn't been to a final.
Yeah, of course, because Bayern Munich never made it, did they?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Jesus.
Big
But
head.
what do you guys think at home? Who would be your dream matchup, dream winner, and actual winner? Please put them in the comments below as we move on to our next quickfire question. And this one comes from @Tim_A, other way around actually, 05. Who has been the best central midfielder this season? It's a bit of a hard question. I hate these questions
Wow.
because they're like,
Yeah.
name one player. It's very hard to do so. But he's asked it, so
Really
Michael,
difficult.
you're kicking it off.
Oh, I don't know who to say.
David Silva.
David Silva's been good. Bernardo Silva's been very
Bernardo
good.
Silva has been good.
Yeah, he has been
for
good.
City. Obviously signed that new contract this week, didn't he?
In fact,
Very
he's
well
a central
deserved.
midfielder now.
And yeah, to be fair, like it's actually quite hard to look past Bernardo Silva for me, just because of how seamless it's been. Like it has, like they haven't been depleted by De Bruyne not being there. Obviously, there's a certain amount of creativity that maybe they lost a little bit, but like obviously they've got such a good squad that they can make up for that. He's more than made up for De Bruyne's defensive work.
And his injuries.
And I genuinely thought that even last season, if De Bruyne would have got injured at a crucial point, that would have really affected them. Maybe they wouldn't have lost the league, but they would have won it by a lot less. He really was that important to them as a player in terms of just linking defence and attack. Bernardo Silva has
I've got a
compensated
shout.
for that.
I'm not saying he's been the best central midfielder because that's mental, but someone who has definitely surprised me, Arthur at Barcelona. I didn't expect him to come into this Barcelona side and be as good as he has been so quickly, especially with like the lights that they had in there beforehand of Xavi and Iniesta and that, and others have come into it and struggled, i.e. also not necessarily midfield, but Coutinho, like he's always on the bench now. But Arthur came in, not necessarily unknown, but came in and it's just made it his own, to be honest. I mean, they've still got to, I guess Frankie de Jong is going to be the one that kind of replaces Busquets over time, but it kind of surprised me. I was
So
trying to
they'll-
think of any others.
They'll have a
Axel
pretty amazing.
Witsel at Dortmund.
Yeah.
Frankie's got to have a shout.
Yeah.
Like Alan at Napoli has had a tremendous season. Lo Celso, obviously at Betis, has been out of this world. Though, I mean, the problem is a lot of people have been incredible, but not over the full season so far. So, for instance, I would say that the best central midfield performances this season have probably been given by Fernandinho and Paul Pogba, but they haven't done it over the whole course of the campaign. And there are reasons for that, injury and managerial change and stuff. But as a result, it's hard to say they've been the best central midfielder this season. But Paul Pogba is basically putting up the numbers you'd expect from a good striker. He's basically getting like Icardi numbers while doing central midfield stuff, which is pretty sensational. Dele Alli similarly has had an absolutely fantastic campaign when he's been fit, which has not been that often. So I don't know. Like I think it's hard to pick one person out and say, wow,
it's
the
always
whole
hard.
season through that person's been absolutely firing on all cylinders.
I think Bernardo Silva is maybe our best shout, to be honest. I think
Yeah.
out of all of them, maybe Frankie de Jong,
Yeah,
but
I
I
think
guess he's playing for Ajax.
There's a lot of good ones.
Let's move on to our next quickfire question. This one comes from Uam, and they have said, who's going up from the Championship? Have you dabbled in the Championship whilst you were in France, Pate? Did you watch a couple of games?
No.
Did you watch any games?
What, in the Championship?
I mean, yeah, in general.
I watched some football, but I didn't watch any Championship games. I'm a normal human being.
I have
think
to
anyone's
admit,
So it is actually getting better and
yeah,
better, the
it is.
Championship.
It is. In terms of who's coming up, I think it'll be.
I don't even know what the Championship table looks like.
Leeds,
now.
Norwich.
Norwich, Norwich, Derby, Leeds. I feel like I'm missing out on someone else who's doing really well.
Well, West Brom are there and thereabouts. I mean, like
They're
they sit
fourth,
down
West
a
Brom.
bit, and obviously they replaced their manager.
I want to have a
Aston Villa, I think, are doing okay.
Brentford are not far off. I think they were, last time I looked, they were in the
Are they back in
promotion.
first? 'Cause
Not the promotion spots. They were in. They were not far off the playoff spots. And
That's crazy because they were 18th about a month ago.
but they've got. I did a scout report in my first week back, which was about players you could buy from the Championship. And there's Ben Rama, who's like Saeed Ben Rama, who's like an attacking midfielder for them, who has arguably been the best player in the league this season. And of course as well, Neil Mopai as well, who looks fantastic. Like, they've pretty much got two of the best attackers in the league who are absolutely tearing it up. Plus
he's
somebody
on
like
the-
Ollie
yeah.
Watkins, who's taken a step back from last season in terms of pure output and still looks amazing.
This is what's crazy. Brentford, yeah, they're 14th despite having such good quality like that. I think, yeah, Ben Rama looks like Premier League quality. We went to see Brentford play Blackburn about a month and a half ago.
Scored a hattie, didn't he?
He scored twice, and I think he might
okay.
have assisted one or two as well. Like he was so good cutting in off the left. It was genuinely like kind of like watching. It was probably like watching like someone like Tarat in the Championship a few
Don't
years
say
ago.
that.
but-
Don't jinx him.
No, of course, but he's less flashy, like way less
Yeah.
flashy than Tarat. He's just got way more end product. But like that Brentford team in general, they're just so exciting to watch. It's like
The
properly entertaining.
The Championship this year has been fantastic. Even the stuff off the pitch, like Bielsa and the Spygate, that was amazing.
That was so
That
good.
was so good, and just all these little things.
All the
and,
whining about it.
And I
Oh,
do,
it's
yeah,
great.
and I do think you're right. Like the Championship has recently, like past couple of years, like absolutely jumped up in levels, and we've seen that as well with
Because of the money,
teams
isn't it?
coming up from the Championship being able to stay in the Premier League.
Well, and also though the players I think have helped. Like so, for instance, we now think a bit better of the Championship because like someone like James Maddison, who people are like, well, he's an amazing prospect in the Championship. He's come up and he looks like one of the best playmakers in the Premier League
David
at
Brooks
like
as well.
22. Yeah, David Brooks. And so you look at these guys and you say, okay, well, if the best players in the Championship are actually not just like kind of Premier League quality, but actually good Premier League quality, then clearly the Championship is better than we thought it was.
I can't remember who said it to me, but someone said and argued that the Championship is, I think they said it as a joke, but also the best league in the world in terms of the things that happen.
It's so tight.
And
all year.
so tight. And also the fans there are meant. Every club's fans are mad. They're crazy. In terms of the support they have, like for the Premier League compared to the Premier League, arguably it's better.
Mate, you're basically going to
It's
be
the
watching
hardest
the
one to win.
Championship next
It's the hardest
season
one to win.
because you're going to have Reece James playing right back. You're going to have Mason Mount starting in an attacking midfield.
Tammy
You're going to have
Abraham
Tammy
up
Abraham
front.
leading the line.
Oh,
it's
it's
gonna
gonna be
it's pure
fantastic.
Championship for you next season. Can't
That's a
wait.
whole other. If you'd like to see more about the Chelsea situation, make sure you check out the Sunday Vibes Extra Time podcast and go download it now on iTunes and Spotify.
Good plug.
Let's move on to personal questions. This one comes from FJL_10. Favourite drinks, be specific.
Favourite drinks.
Be specific.
Be specific.
Mikey, anything with alcohol?
Anything with alcohol. I'll start with alcoholic drinks. Either a lovely West Country ale. Don't think there is any beer in the world that beats a good ale from Cornwall or Devon. And gin and tonic is just like a general constant. It's just so tasty.
You can never really go wrong with gin and tonic.
Yeah. Soft drinks.
Yeah.
Peach juice is up there for me.
Ooh.
Peach juice is like, lovely.
Oh, that's it. Oh, I'm glad
Not
you
great for
brought
the teeth,
fruit
but
juice.
yeah, I
Because
do love
grape
juice.
juice I like.
Grape juice, really?
Grape juice is
Or like the
delicious.
clear- like the clear one.
Oh, you know when you go to like Greece or something, you can get that black cherry juice, and it is
Yeah, I think I have had that.
sensational.
Yeah, I would have
so
had that.
good.
I'm a big fan of raspberry and strawberry.
Really?
What, as a juice?
Yeah, as a
I don't
juice.
think I've ever experienced
But
that.
I also do like the classics, the apple juice, the orange juice. You can never go wrong with a good OJ.
I never really have juice anymore. So, but I don't know, like hot chocolate, a really banging hot chocolate is a thing of joy. You know when it's like thick enough but not too thick and it doesn't make you feel sick.
Do you like a bit of
but-
whipped cream on it or not? Is that too
Sure,
much?
sure, under the right circumstances.
Snowy day outside.
Yeah, I mean, if you're having a hot chocolate, then you need to cheer yourself up. So why not? G&T, but like I don't know if we're going to be specific. Yeah, we should probably pick gins and tonics. Like I like Fever Tree
Wow.
tonics; they're good.
Oh, I can't
And,
do that.
and
Actually, I
gin,
don't-
there's like Edinburgh Seaside gin. It's sensational. It's a little bit sea salty. Aperol Spritz. You love an Aperol Spritz?
I do. I like the British version rather than the Italian version. Very bitter in Italy, where it's actually from. But I think might have been just a bad one. But I do like it. I do like it. It's, I also like the colour. The colours, when that comes out, you're just like, and in the glass, it's just like, it feels like summer. It's fantastic.
A caipirinha as well is a fantastic cocktail. Caipirinha, I think, is the world's best cocktail.
Caipirinha, you know they serve those at Corinthian Casuals.
Nice.
You
they go
have
full
one
Brazilian.
They go full Brazilian.
That's nice.
Yeah.
Oh, and a Negroni as well is always
Mate,
a treat.
they seem to be quite in at the moment. There's a lot of people who are saying that Negronis are just like the drink that they go to.
We forgot about the Capri Suns back in 2006.
Oh, bag drinks. Yeah, that's what I used to call them.
Fantastic.
The bag drink.
Mate, they're shit.
Oh, come on. All right, we'll move on to our final personal question, and this comes from Michael Farah. This goes to you, Pato. What did Pat enjoy most about his break? Apart from being away from us.
Yeah, apart from like not writing like 4 top 10s a week, I can't think of it. Yeah, probably learning French and spending time with my wife. Like I really enjoyed learning French. We're continuing that now. We're back, like trying to find a tutor at the moment so we can carry on. Made a load of progress. And generally speaking, like I spent pretty much all of every day with my wife. Like the only time we spent apart was like, you know, when I go to the gym or something, like, so we were together a lot of the time and it was really, really nice. You know, we've been married for 2 years now. And so getting a couple of months of just like spending time together while doing something really fun, I thought was exactly what I wanted it to be.
Aw, that's
and the
so
food
sweet.
as well, food is f***ing outrageous.
That's so sweet.
I sent Adam Templeman to a steak place last night.
Let's hope he went. Let's hope
He
went.
did.
Oh, he did? On the on Instagram.
Yeah, he was pleased.
There you go. There you go. That's the end, though, guys, of Sunday Vibes. Don't forget to check out the link below for the Now TV's Sky Sports Mobile month pass for just £5.99, where you can watch Fulham versus Liverpool. Thank you, Michael and Pat, for joining me. Mikey, what's happening on all the channels?
There's loads happening. FDFC, obviously, if you haven't subscribed to that, go and subscribe. There was a new squad goals this week. The new season of Sevens started as well.
Your commentary is actually the best
great.
thing.
It's the
man.
stuff of legend, isn't it? Apparently, not too late to play my own trumpet, but yeah, go and check out all that stuff on EFD. Obviously, Stat Wars the League and Stat Wars the Champions is going on simultaneously. Zach versus Specs Gonzalez is the latest Champions game, and it was pretty good. No rules, you know that old saying. So that is that, and I think that I've pretty much covered everything there. Anyone else got anything else to plug?
Pat, sign off.
Yeah, thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. Bye.